Just how much cash?
He said, Mark would, it changes every year. It's like, every year. Here we go.
Good evening. This is the Wednesday, March 18th, 2026 meeting of the Finance Committee. We are in the Public Safety Complex at 576 Pleasant Street. We are a committee of 7 members. All 7 are present. 4 is a quorum. I declare we have a quorum and we're open to business. Sorry for the delay in our meeting, which was scheduled for 7:30, and we're starting a little bit after that. So apologies for everyone who's in attendance and who may be viewing. Our meeting agenda is up on the screen. First order of business is to review and speak to the meeting minutes of the meeting held on March 11th, which everybody has been sent a copy of those. Is there
Move to approve.
motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
Opposed?
Abstain.
None. Abstentions? 1. They carry. Also on our meeting agenda is the presentation of certain departments of their budgets. If I'm not mistaken, Robert, we have 2 guests this evening. Do we want to start with the library first? Does that make sense?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yep. Would you like to come forward? Yes, thank you.
Is that what this means? Where am I going to put it?
You're going to the podium?
All right. I love a podium. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Vicki Biancolo. If we have not met, I'm the new director of the Richards Memorial Library. Actually, before I say anything, I am a librarian, so I have a handout. So if you would.
I can do that for you if you want. You want me to do that for you?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Robert.
Yeah, of course.
This is also account 1610 for those that may want to follow along with the budget workbook.
Is the green light on?
The green light is on. I'm very short. Is that the problem?
Just move it closer.
How's that? Is that better? Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So, not having done this before, I am before you. I am hoping that you will ask me questions and then I can answer them. Rather than giving you a full presentation, I will let you know what I know, and then hopefully we can understand each other. So what I've given you, or what Robert has just given you, is the cover. The cover sheet is kind of a reworked. Is this sheet that was that looks like this. It was the original. Sorry, that's my Post-it on it, but it has a. This was the original request for fiscal year 2027, and coming in, and I know that when this was put together, there were some unknowns, and there were some minor errors, and I found them and squirreled them out. And so what you have in front of you, and I hope I've made this actually more readable than less readable. Now that I'm looking at it, you can tell me afterward whether or not this was a bad idea. But so that you can see clearly, so the numbers, as far as I know, are correct. So the numbers in the fiscal year 2027 requested column, is this what's on the screen? That is not what's on the screen. What I'm talking about is not what's on the screen.
I do not have a digital copy of that.
Ah, so maybe, can we just take that down then? Because I think maybe it'll be confusing.
Well, I think this corresponds.
It won't, if it's what it was.
So,
Is the same totals?
yeah.
I think we can
Okay.
leave that up.
We can go by.
All right.
Public not numbered.
Okay, all right. So if something doesn't jibe, then you'll know why, because I'm reading from this.
Yeah, some of these are off. We'll probably have to correct it.
By a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. And what I want to, the reason I want your attention on the paper that I just gave you is that it actually shows very clearly what of the fiscal year 27 budget are fixed costs that we actually have no control over without losing people, frankly. The salaries are set, by the wage chart. I'll get back to CW Mars for a moment. The purchase services line, 5,200, has two items in that in the paper that I gave you. I pulled CW Mars out of that because I want to explain that. And the purchase services, all that really there are some minor price increases and also gutter cleaning. The gutter cleaning was not budgeted for last year, but as we all know, we live in Massachusetts, gutters need to be clean or else we're in trouble. So that's why that number is bigger than as much as it is. And in the CW Mars line, last year, that $874 was artificially shrunk. That was artificially underreported. I'm not entirely sure why. If you look again at the bottom of this page, you'll see where it says CW Mars and then the usage and the costs. Under costs, the actual cost in fiscal year 2026 was $5,816. I don't know why 874 was reported as but I assume that's with the money that the library actually received, but that's not how much money the library needed in 26. And so in the 27 request, that 5970 number is the actual number that we need to pay to CW Mars this coming year, fiscal year, and that is an increase of 2.65%. Does that make sense? So it's not 2.65%. It's obviously not the difference between 874 and 5970. That makes sense? Yes, I hope. Okay.
Well, can I stop you right there?
Yes, please. Yep.
Because if you look at purchased services, CW Mars, you see in the 2026 column, the 874 that you just spoke about. Mm-hmm. On that particular budget, it's $7,200.
Correct.
7202,
Yeah.
and what you've just drawn our attention to is 5970.
Yeah, and I can explain that. That 7202, as I understand it, was an estimate from my predecessor. She didn't know what the actual cost was going to be, and so she added what she thought was going to be an extra internet cost. There's some talk because of its librarianship, and there has been a lot of upheaval on the state and federal level for funding. I think everybody knows that, right? So I think that what she probably had done was look at what was possible for the internet service that we get through CW Mars. And so she was taking care of that.
Yep. So the $64,000 question, Robert, can you go back to the
other
actual
one?
budget
Yeah.
worksheet number?
Sorry.
7202 versus 5970. I think you said it, but I want to ask it again. Is that enough money
72.
to get the accreditation that you need
Yes.
through the $5,900 is the right number to use? Because what happened
Yeah,
was
yeah.
in September of last year, they had to come back to the reserve fund to make up for an amount that was not sufficient.
Right.
So we don't want you to have to do that again.
I really appreciate that very much.
So we want to be careful
Yeah.
with belt and suspenders that the $5,900 number gets you there.
I actually have, I'm smiling because it's complicated. So that 5970 number for CW Mars, that is a service that we pay for just stay with me for a moment, okay? So that service, what that gets us is all of the ebooks and almost all of the ebooks and audiobooks that Paxton residents enjoy through the library. And that is, and I learned actually in the process of going through this and looking through all these numbers, that 34% of Paxton residents last year used just that service from CWMR. So it's hugely, we're very popular. So it doesn't even count. We get the catalog, we get our email, we get the internet service, we get our G Suite, we get reporting that we need for the state so that we can get state aid. At the end of the year, we get all of that from CWMRs from this 5970. So that's CWMRs. What you're talking about, I think, is the certification that we need to keep. That's where we don't want to lose certification through the state, because if we lose that, and in the packet I gave you, there's this glossy handout. I ordered these for you, so you would have this, as I said to Robert, this beautiful brochure that you probably will not read, but it will be on your counter or on your bookshelf, and so you can refer to it if you wish.
I'll throw it away.
You're going to throw that away? Okay.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah. So, and this explains what state aid does. So that's actually a different thing from CWMRs. The way we keep this is this formula that is, where is it on here? Do I have it on here? I think I took it off. It doesn't matter. The way we get this number is that it is the past 3 fiscal years, the average of the past 3 fiscal years, times 1.0, what is it, 1.025%, 1.025%. And that is the number that we have to hit every year. So it's actually not the CWMR's number, it's the total. That's the number, that's the important number that we have to hit to not lose certification. Does that make sense? It's not actually, that's not crafted.
Where is that? Can you direct us to where it is on either the sheet that
formula?
Robert's put up now or the other budget?
That's a good question. I thought I had, I can definitely get that to you. I thought I had kept it in here, but apparently in cutting and pasting it, I lost it. But I will. Do you want the formula or do you want the numbers? Because I have that.
Well, with my forgiveness of my colleague members, can I read something to you?
Sure.
A municipality, which is us,
Yep.
Finance Committee going to town meeting, must appropriate a figure of at least the average of the last 3 years' municipal appropriations to the library for operations increased by 2.5%.
2.5.
in order to be certified for state aid public libraries.
Okay.
Is that in that budget?
Yes. It is in the 217.
Okay,
Yes.
I rest my case.
Yes. I know, I realize that I may very well not be, I'm not presenting as
you're doing fine.
knowledgeably as I could, but I do want to say one of the things that I should tell you on my resume is that I'm currently a commissioner on the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners. So, and I have been. This is my 5th year, I think, as a commissioner. So I actually am well versed in how these numbers are supposed to work and the formula are supposed to work. So I just wanted to let you know that. So that is, I've come in and my learning curve is very, very steep, but that I already knew. So let's see. I want to see if there's anything else that I wanted to pull your attention to. I think not. I mean, the only other thing I did want to mention is this stapled sheet. So I understand that capital requests were done in January, which is before I arrived. I arrived 3 weeks ago, and so I didn't have an opportunity, of course, to present this to you all. And there are two things that actually are pretty important to do for the library. One is I am told that the bathroom fixtures in the 2 bathrooms are not ADA compliant. And that is a potential lawsuit, frankly, to the town. So I thought you would want to know about that. And the other thing is that the fire inspector wants us to key the doors differently. key one door. They want one key for both doors. Right now, it's two ways. You can't get into one of the doors. So those are two things that need to happen for, one for compliance and one for safety. And so I didn't really know what to do about that, so I thought I would just hand that over to you. The reason it's stapled is it's stapled to the quotes for both the locks and the bathroom fixtures. So
there's some former and current members of Capital Improvement Planning Committee, which is where this goes to.
okay,
So two things. One is the horse may have left the barn this year because our committee report has already been submitted.
okay,
But the warrant articles have not been finalized, so maybe there's a little bit of a window open, but I'm going to close the window right now and say that we only entertain requests that are $10,000 or above, and this total is only $6,320.
correct.
So I think you're going to need to either go to your own operating budget, go to your own trust funds, or come to the finance reserve fund sometime during the year. But I think making it part of capital is not possible at this point, and it wouldn't be possible because of the threshold that committee observes.
Okay. I will tell you frankly right now that I don't think that putting it into the library budget is actually a good idea. The reason is because the total amount that we need every year goes into the calculation for the number we need to hit in subsequent years. If the library budget were to increase by this amount, then next year when we're calculating the number that we need to stay certified, it's that much higher. Am I explaining that well? I'm not sure I am. Okay, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as far as that expense, $6,300 for the repairs, is that a problem getting that from the trust?
I haven't looked into it. I mean, as I said, I just got
no,
here, and
okay.
so I haven't looked into it. I don't actually even know what I'm sure that the trusts are used for very specific things, I assume. So I don't have a handle on
I could be
that yet.
mistaken.
Building maintenance is one of them.
There's
Is
building
that maintenance, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I could have sworn, I might have that wrong, but.
I do think there might be a typo on that capital request sheet. The front entry lock, the 620, when you look at the actual quote, it looks like it's more like 200. I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and
It's more like it's 200.
unless there's something I'm just not seeing.
Oh, you forgot labor.
Yeah, the labor.
Oh, the
is it?
labor is in.
Yeah, Julia, way back page. Look at all the way over the
all
back.
the way on the back. Okay, yeah, so I just didn't see that. Wow, that's really high. Okay.
It's all labor.
It's labor.
Yeah. Yes. No, I did the same thing because
Yep.
you look, the lock is $25 or something. You're like,
I know. I'm
I
like,
know.
to rekey a lock, that seems really high.
I
Yeah.
know. Unfortunately, it's those. Like the doors, kind of. They have crash bars. They're not
Yep,
like
yep.
a door that you could
Right.
DIY.
Right.
Really, it's not. So
Okay.
okay. And so I guess finally, and then of course any questions, I will take any questions. I just would like to, I guess, remind you as you're doing this work, and I know it is not an easy year. I know it's not an easy year for anyone, and it's not going to be, it's just not, it's not going to be easy this year. It's not going to be easy next year, I don't think, and maybe the year after that. So I understand all that. I just wanted to, I guess, just plea for the library, and it's tiny 1.14% of the budget. It's just such a, like a hit of $5,000 cut to a bigger budget maybe can be absorbed, but it's huge to the library and the services it can provide to the people of Paxton. So I just wanted to say that. And if you have any questions, anything else?
I have a question. I guess
Yeah.
this would be for Robert as much as
Sure.
Vicki is. The budget workbook and the presentation don't match. They're off by about
Right.
$1,100.
Yeah, yeah, so it went from the 218
I
to.
was going to make the recommendation, can you take this good presentation, this good handout in the budget worksheet that we do have,
And marry them.
and marry them?
Yeah.
That's it.
So that we know the exact number. It's close, but I think we're at the point now where we want it to be accurate and specific.
Yeah.
So if you could do that, we could actually hold taking a vote until that comes back to us next week, but While Vicky's here, are there any questions of what we do have and what has been presented to us? Carl?
So it's, I mean, just I guess more something, I know you just relatively new and haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but certainly with, as was mentioned, the cutoff being 10,000 for capital improvement and ADA compliance being the driver for the bathroom.
Right.
I don't know, maybe you could take a,
I'm sorry, maybe
maybe you could, I mean, if you took a holistic look at the building, maybe if there are other compliance-related changes that have to be made, potentially down the road, that could be another avenue of bathrooms, and then we need a ramp outside the emergency exit or something that
Right, anything else
something
falls
else
into that.
compliance-related.
Yeah,
It's
it's a good suggestion,
Could be another
yeah.
avenue down
Yeah.
for the next go-round at least.
Yeah,
In addition to that, though, has been mentioned, and to piggyback on Jeff's point, I'm looking at the special revenue funds, and there's some considerable money in some of those funds that may be able to take care of the bathrooms.
right, okay, yeah,
Or
right,
maybe you revisit, if we're gonna cobble together and marry the various things that we have going on here, maybe you resubmit it with it in the budget. I don't think we don't want anybody not to be able to go to the bathroom.
no, I know, yeah,
I was just hesitant with that because, like Vicky said, we don't want to increase the
Yeah.
budget this
Yep.
year.
Totally
We're
get it.
doing 2.5 off of that, and
Yeah.
then it's getting out of control.
I would also add to get your quotes updated so you got an accurate figure, because like the bathroom one being.
The bathroom one is
Go
a-
up to 7,000.
yeah, again, I was like, I just haven't been here long enough. I was able to get to the lock guy to get the updated lock proposal, but the bathroom people just haven't gotten back to me yet. There will be an email probably tomorrow morning.
Fair enough.
So,
Thank you.
all right. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So next, in terms of presentations, we have a representation from the police department, Sergeant Thorpe, Lieutenant Thorpe, excuse me. The police budget, which is budget number 1210, and the regional dispatch, which is 1215. That actually might be easier. The dispatch, you want to do that one first?
I don't have that in front of me, but I can try to answer any questions for it, sure.
That is this one.
That's just our. There we are.
Well, it's up substantially because of the regional assessment.
Correct.
And we're part of the regional consortium, so I don't know that there's much that we can do about that particular increase. Is this the last year that it's,
Last year was 100%.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
last year was
This is just
100%?
an increase.
Okay. So it's quite a substantial increase, but I don't know that we've got much that we can do about it, other than to discontinue participating in the regional dispatch system, which we're not advocating for. So that was well presented for us.
Again, that's the number they send us, so.
So moving along, how about the police department in 210?
Do we want to vote on this one, or?
No, I think we're going to wait till afterwards,
Okay.
after the presentations. Are there any questions of the regional dispatch?
Well, so you brought up, like, if we went out of there and brought dispatch back, but I think since you brought it up, we should at least address it, and that would be exponentially more expensive.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Because these radios were 10 years old when we decided to join the regional dispatch, and so if we looked at that, just the radio purchase alone could be in the millions.
Right.
And
That was
so
grant
I think it's
funded.
just worth stating.
Yeah, thank you.
That's something a lot of people don't know the history on. So,
Correct.
any comments there?
And they're 6 years old now, so we're getting there. again, but yeah, you're 4 or 5 times that number to bring it back home.
At least, and that's just for people, not for
Right,
infrastructure.
salary, never
Yeah.
mind everything else that goes along with it.
Yeah.
In summary, what does the regional dispatch include? They supply the radios and equipment along with the service and the staff to support the service?
So they supplied the radios as we made the transition to regional dispatch. Going forward, we're probably going to need to fund our own radios in-house, but they also had to fund fiber, running fiber between here and Holden in order to get that taken care of. So you see on the purchase services, there's the annual contract because there does have to be maintenance to that fiber line, and that's contracted out. But to make the switch, that's where we ended up getting all new equipment at that point.
Okay, thank you.
Do they give us any detail with the, I know this is the first year the assessment wasn't just like a planned increase, but do we get any detail? It's a big number, you know, I'd be curious to see what goes into it, you know, but I don't know if they give us that or not. It was like the retirement.
There's
but
a
we did give
formula
us the number.
between calls of service, population, 911 calls. They calculate that out every year.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, it's a formula primarily driven by calls for service.
okay.
So how about the police department budget account 1210?
Okay, so 1210. So again, Lieutenant Thorpe, thank you for having me tonight. Chief Savassa sends his regrets. He had a personal matter come up tonight.
First, is your mic on?
It's green.
Yeah.
You know, these mics are really directional, so just point it up toward you.
Raise it up a bit.
So for 1210, do you just want me to go line by line, or?
Yeah, I would ask you to make whatever kind of presentation that you'd like to make.
So for the first section, pretty much covers all our contracted salaries. So 5,100 total here. So your 5,102 as your chief's salary. 5,103 covers sergeants, our full-time officers, detectives. If you notice, our full-time officers actually decreased for our requests. That's because we're moving one officer from Anna Maria College over to the town side. So there is a little bit of a savings there from what we're budgeted for. The overtime number, the specialized training, which was at one point between $14,000 and $15,000, that we're bringing that back up to where it should be. We have new officers, we have a new detective. We'll be doing a new sergeant at some point, so we'll be needing to continue our training. The differentials, again, contracted for second and third shifts. The career incentive covers our education for the officers. That's also contractual. Stipends for our in-house instructors and longevity for officers that qualify. Again, there's a slight increase with both of those for one hitting a step increase for the longevity and an extra $100 for another stipend that an officer's required to receive. So those are along with the lieutenant line with 5,105, those are all our contractual line items. 5,104, the administrative assistant, which was dropped down to part-time status last year. There's a 2.5% increase in that. And 5,106 is part-time window help for the front lobby, which has been cut for the last several years. There's been no talk of bringing that back. 5,200 is our purchase services. So our general line for the 125 is level funded. That's our basic legal updates, some just basic general items for the station. Cruiser maintenance, we did increase a little bit. That covers tires, inspections, oil changes for our cruisers. We didn't put in for any extra this year, so we're going to make work with what we have for cars, so we're going to increase the maintenance on them to get us through another year.
First, can I speak to cruiser maintenance?
Sure.
It only went up a little bit, and recall that the police department has not replaced cruisers for a number of years now. It was scheduled that 3 would be replaced last year, but that ultimately was withdrawn from going further. And this year, the police department didn't put any cruisers forward. So that's essentially 2 years. And they had historically had something every year, and in some cases, 3 cruisers in a year. So if you're not replacing them, is the cruiser maintenance number a good number?
We believe so for the time being. Again, what we have right now is still operational. We do our regular maintenance. We have 1 or 2 cars that are getting up there in mileage, but so far we've had good luck with everything. So as far as new cruisers, we tried to weigh the option of cost versus, I guess you could say, availability to what we're going to be coming up with in the near future. So again, I don't want to try to get ahead of anything that any other questions that might be coming down the line, but we're in the middle of still negotiating with Anna Maria College. If that does not come to fruition, then we have 9 budgeted officers and we have 9 vehicles. So there's to come and ask for probably, at least another $100,000 for cars is counterproductive to where we want to be financially at this point. So again, we didn't ask for any cars. We'll make do with what we have. A little increase in the maintenance, and I think we'll be fine this year.
Yep.
Okay. Next one.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What's,
Hold on, Steve. Will the committee allow the public to ask a question?
Go ahead.
Sure.
You need some microphone.
Go ahead, Steve. We need a microphone.
I think I speak loud enough for people to hear me.
It's the recording.
Oh, good point. Forrest, can you tell us of the 9 vehicles, general ages of, the older ones and what kind of mileage? Just give us an estimate.
So our oldest 2 are 2019s. One has just under 100,000, and then we have a 2020, which is a mainline car that's been mainline its entire service, and that has about 110,000 miles on it. That was the first 3 cars we did on a lease program. So we did 2 19s, and we had a 2020 that was involved in that purchase. And then fast forward, the next lease program was a 2022s. So we have 3 2022s that are anywhere between 40 and 60,000 miles right now.
Thank you.
Okay. Phones and pagers, that should be a contracted item. Supervisors and detectives and anybody that's on call gets a $50 stipend for their phones. Radio maintenance, that's a service contract for our radio system. That did go up a little bit this year. Again, it's starting to age. We're trying to add a little bit extra where we can for some extra maintenance. And teletype and computer, which is actually our CGIS and registry network. That's again, that's a contract as well, and our main copier for the station is in that line item as well. Trainer services is for outside instructors to come in and provide training. Again, that kind of corresponds with the specialized training, so we have instructors that come in and give us training. We've done several in this room here. Again, with newer officers, we're trying to give them the best training that we can. Network and dispatch, which is, again, that's more of our IMC, which is our in-house record system. That's, again, another contract. Also included in that line item is our mobile data terminal air cards, which is their internal modems for Verizon. So there's seven of those for our cars. Body camera maintenance. So our body camera program, we have an in-house server, and the maintenance and licensing for that is $3,600 a year. That hasn't changed, and that whole program was grant funded. So $5,400 for our regular supplies, general medical supplies, batteries, postage, everyday items for the station. Gasoline, which was estimated at $3.50 at the time of this, which we increased to a $28,000 gas budget. Clothing, gear, vests, again, that's also a contractual item. Each officer gets $1,400 a year for their uniform allowance, which is shirts, pants, vests, equipment, coats. Cruiser equipment and parts, that covers pretty much anything not general maintenance. Our light bars, supplies for the cruisers, medical supplies, flashlights, batteries, flares, anything that's pretty much in the trunk that needs regular replacement. Let's see. Office supplies covers our printer ink, envelopes, forms, 911 recording CDs, CDs for video. Training equipment, that covers our ammunition for firearms training, our taser cartridges, which is under a lease program. So out of that, just that alone is a $7,200 item. And booking room supplies covers our first aid kits, gloves, fingerprinting supplies, blankets, prisoner meals, evidence bags, anything that goes on in the booking room comes out of that item. And then 5702 for dues, that's our Mass Chiefs Association, International Chiefs of Police, Central Mass Chiefs, FBI, LEDA, FBI National Academy, all those recurring yearly dues, which puts us down to a 2.5% increase, which is an increase of $29,615. And out of that, about a little over 19,000 of that is just salary contractual items. So that's what we came in at. Was requested for 2.5%. We came in at that number, and if you have any questions, I can try to answer them for you.
Yeah, I got a couple. It's hard to find fault in the bottom line because the compliance request was 2.5%, and you hit it right in the bullseye. So how can we complain in terms of you gave us what we asked for? So I want to congratulate you and all the other departments that did do that. There were only a few that didn't, and those that didn't had a compelling reason why they didn't. But yours came in at 2.5%. One of the questions I have is that there are contracts for some department heads that are posted on the website. And in one in particular, you look at the top of the page here, it looks like the chief's salary is listed at $141,000, but the contract that's posted on the website has it at $158,000. What am I missing between what is literally on the website in a signed contract for 3 years? Why is it 141 there and 158 in the contract?
I don't have that number in front of me. I couldn't speak to that.
You know what I'm obviously getting at is the right number being budgeted here when we have a contractual obligation to meet a higher number. So I would ask that to be looked into. The other thing is that the elephant in the room that continuously surfaced is that there's a piece of the police department that services Santa Maria College. And there's a substantial agreement with Anna Maria College to the tune of $822,000. Not that you would do this, but if you added the two together, this is like $2,100,000. This is the leader in the clubhouse by a large amount. And that's how some people in the community are looking at it, that it's not just this. It's the others, which we get reimbursed for, to be sure, but nevertheless, if you look at the expense side of things, it's pretty substantial. That didn't go up 2.5% last year. That went up 9%. And some of the beneficiaries of the salaries that are part of that went up 5%. When we've been cutting hours and shaving hours and making sure that COLA or step increases meet 2.5% or 3%, that's almost double that. But here's the most troubling thing to me. Last year, when we had some really tough budget hearings in the Anna Maria agreement and the Anna Maria budget, not so much the agreement because it's a model of its kind in the country, but the budget. We asked whether or not we could be a part of that particular process of preparing the budget, and we were told that we would be. And we were never called and never advised, never invited. We never did that. And the reason we wanted to get at the table was to get our nose under the hood to see what is this really all about. And all we hear is that it's such a wonderful thing, which we don't disagree, but we look at all kinds of other budgets and scrutinize those, and we don't get a chance to do that. What is disturbing to me is that at the annual town meeting on June 16th, when there was a lull and a pause in the meeting process because there was an override petition put forward by a citizen that needed some refinement, needed some tweaking, so there was a lull in the meeting. But during that lull, citizens went to the mic, and one in particular went to the mic and asked, what's the status of the Anna Maria contract? Heard about it at the budget hearings. Where are we right now? And nobody got up and spoke. I did. I get up and said, it's not part of the budget, but it's on our radar screen, and we want to basically, let you know that we want to be a part of it, but it's not part of this particular budget. I shouldn't have been the only one that got up and spoke, but I was. And that was on June 16th. What I found out 2 weeks later was the budget was already completed on June 1st. And I don't think that was right for that not to have been said that night. I don't think it was right for us to have been told that we could be a part of this, and then we were shut out and we weren't part of that. So I'm going to ask again for the FY27 budget, which I think in my conversation with you today, you indicated that it's not done. Can a member of the Finance Committee be part of that particular process, just so that we can get our questions answered and come back to the full committee and tell the full committee, and by extension the public, what it is that we know? Because right now it looks like there's something more to it than really is meeting the eye. And we'd like to have some full disclosure, and we're not looking for any particular other obligation or favor. We just want to be part of the process. And we were told that we would, and then we were later on told that the person who said that they would make sure that happened didn't have the authority to do that. So it's just not setting well in terms of what we were told, what we assumed was going to happen, didn't happen, and then the final resolutions, the whole thing was fait accompli anyways. We don't want that to continue going forward. Now, if you're going to say you have no place at the table, it's none of your business, then somebody's going to say that to us. But I don't think it's none of our business, because I think it's important that we know this is a substantial contract that's now flirting with $1 million. And maybe some reform is necessary. We don't know. We're not accusing that there should be, but we don't know. And we'd like to be at the table, and I'd ask you if you could take that message back and allow us to be at the table before the FY27 one is complete, because that's the FY27 budget right there. So while this one is being prepared, not this one, but the Anna Maria College one, can we be part of the process? That's the question.
Well, that's not a question for me. I can understand your point, but that's the budget and the entire contract that's up this year is being negotiated still currently by the town. I know.
So that's something that I can obviously have as a takeaway. Like you said, it doesn't affect the town budget, what we're voting on tonight. But that's something I'll take away, talk with the chief, see if that's something that we can accommodate. But like you said, it is currently outside your purview.
Right.
I know that you want it to be part of that, but we also want to make sure that we're not inviting too many people to the negotiations, and so that's something that I'll come back with next week.
If we're contractually or legally precluded from being a part of it, then we accept that. We're not looking to break down the door. But if we can be part of it, and that's what I'm asking you to exhaust the possibility, can we be part of it? At that table, we could probably ask more intelligent questions than we just can do by looking at a finished product. That's all.
Okay. Thank you.
Jeff?
Yeah. As far as a motion for this budget, I'm prepared to make one, but do we have an issue? Do we have the right numbers on here at the top of the?
The contract on the town website for the chief's salary this year is $158,103.
Yeah, I can clarify that. So the difference between what's listed in the budget and what's in the contract is paid by Anna Maria. So that number in the budget is accurate.
Okay, so that would be thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That would be a budget of $1,214,220.
Anna Maria's, so you're saying the Anna Maria budget for the chief is only $17,000?
Yeah, I have it right here. It says 43,000.
That was the information that I got.
So I understand your answer. It's just not.
yeah, I don't-
It's just not reconciling.
Okay.
That's the whole point. The Anna Maria contract right here, which everybody was sent a copy of, says $43,000.
Yeah.
And this says 141,000. The contract says 158,000. And I'm just choosing one. It could basically apply to the lieutenant and others. I think we're looking at a substantial budget deficit, and maybe there's something here that's not budgeted properly. Maybe it relieves some of that deficit. Maybe it adds to that deficit. Well, I think we need to know. That's really the message and the question.
And it may come from, I mean, that 17,000 may be coming from another line item or something else in there. I just want to make sure the numbers are right, because
Right.
hey,
That's all we're
if
asking.
we go under, that just doesn't make any sense.
There is a possibility that includes his education, but again, I don't know 100%.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, question, if I may?
Yep.
We have public comments.
From the public,
If I may.
yeah, Mr. Bagdis?
Could I have a microphone, please?
Yeah.
Thank
There
you.
we go.
Having sat through last year's process, there were requests at the time, I guess, for everybody to sharpen pencils, department heads and so forth, to try to reduce the very dire situation we were in. And this year, I commend the police department for coming in at the 2.5%. However, I thought if you can refresh my memory, again, you're more with the numbers and the facts here as to what took place, but the request last year, I think, was somewhere around 18% we were looking for departments to cut. Can you help me there? Or?
18.25%.
All right, 18.25. And a majority or several of the departments were able to meet that. Is that correct? If going back to this time of year before we got to town meeting.
I would say the supermajority met it.
Okay, but police was not one of them. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That was somewhere, again, memory serves me, I'm going to say 10%, 9%, 9.5%, somewhere in there. Am I close?
Originally, it came in at 9%, and on the last day of finalizing the budget, it got moved to 11%, but not to 18.25%, if that's your question.
Well, the question is, so there was a reduction by other departments of 18.25%, and then there was a reduction in the police department of 11 or of?
11.
Okay, so that would give them a cushion, I'm sorry, yeah, I'll use the word a cushion, of about 8%. So if you take the budget we're in right now, the fiscal 26, and then we take the proposed fiscal 27 going up 2.5%, which was requested, I mean, they're still ahead of the other departments. Am I
How does that apply to what we're looking at tonight?
Well, I'm just looking at saying everybody's giving accolades that they came in at 2.5%. That's great, but
For FY '27?
right but FY '26, which we're in right now, we got money reinstated through the warrant article at the time of the override amendment at the town meeting, and it doesn't set well with some of the citizens that we're still having a very, very high budget for the PD. That's where I guess I'm going to. And as we're negotiating this year, looking at numbers, I don't know what you can't cut it back to zero if they got 2.5%, but it's just we still seem to have a very large number here. You had mentioned somewhere it's approaching $2 million, where it's up there showing at $1.2 million plus the Anna Maria budget. So I think it's important that you guys get to sit in on some of that process.
We've made the request.
Okay.
Thank you. So, sorry, did anyone else? I'm sorry, Carl. I had time to talk to Carl.
So I had just a couple questions. One, just who signed, like, who are the signatories for the contract with Anna Maria?
So that is up to town administrator and the chief of police.
So the two of you and the chief put your sign on it? Or is that something that...
I have not signed anything.
No, I'm saying
so
like...
that is, my understanding is that it's up to the two of us it's a fee for service.
Can I interrupt? The Anna Maria contract, the memorandum of understanding was signed by all of the select board members.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have it right here.
All right, thank you.
And second question, unrelated, and it's on the topic of revenue, and I just so say you guys are setting up shop at say Moore State Park, and someone comes zipping down West Street going like 60 miles an hour, clipping their way towards Spencer and the Brookfields. They get a speeding ticket for it. Where does that money go to the general fund? Is that on our revenue?
So in a roundabout way, that's where your Chapter 90 money comes from. So a section of that is pulled out of every fine and comes back to the town at some percentage.
So most of that goes off to the state?
Yes. Correct.
So Carl, can I expand your question a little bit? We all know that we have an ambulance receipt fund that contributes generously to our operating budget to the tune of $400,000. It's also going to buy its own ambulance. So a year ago, we did a study and thought, what if the revenue for violations and tickets and the like couldn't also be put into a special revenue fund to buy a cruiser? Made perfect sense. We were told we couldn't do that. Not we, but it couldn't be done. I would ask, Robert, for you to pursue again whether or not that is a possibility for that to have its own special revenue fund so that when the ask comes back for cruises, one or some or all of them can be funded from that particular resource.
It's my,
Makes sense, but it's not happening that way.
it's my understanding that because that would create quite the conflict, that is pretty much illegal to do.
Yeah.
So we cannot go out and write tickets to fund our own operation.
Right.
As much as,
What do you mean? You would ticket everybody because you want a new cruiser?
Fair statement.
Well,
If I may, yeah, just to kind of back to the agenda item of this approval, I mean, I'm going to kind of yield to the town. Are we comfortable with these numbers in here to make a motion out here to approve this?
I'm going to exercise member prerogative. I'm going to hold it till next week.
Yeah, and I think it's not right. It's wrong.
Yeah, 'cause we don't have the right number, Jeff.
Okay.
I just got some additional clarification on that salary line item, and it doesn't include Quinn bill. That's
the
the
education.
difference. Yeah.
so the rest of that would be coming out of career incentive in 5103.
So the line item on 141 doesn't include the Quinn bill.
That's the difference between the 43.
Where is the Quinn bill on the budget?
It's the
Career
43
incentive.
number on the Anna Maria budget. That's the difference between the 17 and the 43, is that 25% Quinn.
But we can't commingle Anna Maria budget and this budget workbook. They don't, you can't have them one vote.
If you take a look at 5103 career incentive, it's 64,612. That covers all officers.
I'm sorry, Forrest, could you speak a little louder? I'm sorry.
The 5103 in the career incentive line, that's where all the education comes from. So that's every officer that's eligible for education incentive.
So I think these questions are, you get where we're coming from. There's stuff all over the place. And even though that's a budget sheet that's filled with information, it's not as detailed and clear and broken out as I think we ought to have it. And maybe in a narrative, is that where it would have been placed, but I don't think we have the benefit of a narrative this year.
I told the departments if they didn't go above 2.5, that they did not have to do a narrative.
And that's your prerogative to do that. The question is, now we've got questions that maybe a narrative would answer. That's the whole point. So, Tony, I think you did you reach for the mic to speak or no?
No, I think my question got answered in all the things we just said. So. But I think the math is starting to add up a little, right? We're just saying the difference between the 158 and 141 is in the career incentive, but there's other people's in there.
Correct.
It's still not, so there may not be any Anna Maria. So whatever
Anne Marie is, yeah.
So whatever is laid out for the chief or for anybody else in Anna Maria is on top of this.
Correct.
In addition
The
to this.
town
It's-
is
we're
not
separate from
funding
this, however you wanna look at it.
Anne Maria.
But it's not commingled, and yeah, and I mean, that's the only place where I can see the point of wanting to be in the room or wanting someone to be in the room, because when that's getting negotiated, is there room to talk about that and say, are there things there that could alleviate, some of this instead of just being in addition to some of it? If it's all fee for service, I get that, but
It is.
but
It is all fee for service, and the only negotiating body for the town is frankly the select board. So it's,
is it the whole select board though, or is it just?
It is the whole select board.
They're all in the room?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so if we were to start introducing other people to that, then we would be excluding our rights and privileges that are legally afforded to the town under that, under the negotiating and executive session type issues. And so if we start opening that up, then that makes all of that public record, which is detrimental to the negotiating position of the town.
I mean, if that's the case. I mean, I don't know how you pursue that from there.
I appreciate the narrative. I mean, yeah, the Quinn bill may get paid for out of Anna Maria, and that makes complete sense. It just needs to be clarified. Again, I'm having a lot of problems with the budget worksheet and clarification on numbers.
Yeah.
If the contract says the town is going to pay the chief X amount of dollars per week, which annualized equals this, and it's taking money from somewhere else to pay that,
I need to see that if the numbers don't match. That's all. That's my only point.
And
It's a number.
So is that, so out of like that 64,000, you want me to break it out by what each individual gets out of that?
Yeah, and
So you're saying that out of that career incentive,
So
if the
if Mark gets-
17,100 is
If the
changed.
chief gets 17K out of that to
Okay.
make up his full salary.
So that's coming from the town though, not Anna Maria, right?
Well, yeah, it's that career incentive, but then the other number you were talking about is Anna Maria and has no bearing on our budget.
Right. No, I appreciate
Yeah.
that. I understood. It's confusing.
So
I see different numbers.
Mark?
the officers who serve Anna Maria, they're employees of the town, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And all the other employees of the town have been covered by the budgeting process we've been going through here, right? I don't know why they wouldn't be covered in the same process.
Right.
And they're not accounted for up here, so I think we're just asking for a full accounting,
It's just that
all the employees.
all the expenses for them.
That's
are-
fine.
Yeah.
That's a contract we have to bring funds in, but as far as the actual expenditures, it's an expenditure that's paid for by the town.
Okay, so you're kind of hoping that
I'm just saying.
more of why,
It should be accounted for up here, not a hidden item, in my opinion. I think some other board members agree.
So if can I ask the question a different way? And maybe this will help. So for the Anna Maria budget, that very first line, chief 43,301, like, does Anna Maria pay that directly to the chief, or does Anna Maria write a check to Paxton and then Paxton
Correct.
does it from there?
It comes into the town, yeah.
Yeah, you're both raising good questions, which leads me to the point that, in my opinion, the whole thing should be in the police department budget.
Correct.
And the revenue should be in a separate revenue that offsets it, but we should see the complete picture in the police department budget, and we don't. That's the issue.
Agreed.
Because as David's saying, they're town employees. Well, they're town employees, but they're not in the town budget. I don't understand that. I think it all should be in one place with the revenue that nets it, figuratively, so that we know that, okay, it's 2 million, but there's 800,000 coming in. But it's here, there, and everywhere, in my view, and we can't match it, and we can't reconcile it. I don't think that's going to be accomplished for this purposes of this budget sheet and this budget year, but I believe it all should be in one place, so we can understand it fully, and now we don't. And that was part of, to Julia's point, we can't go to negotiate, even if we were there to not participate in the negotiations, but be there as a witness to figure out what's going on, because you got some pretty intelligent people around the room here that can't put it together, can't figure it out. That shouldn't be that way. It should be pretty simple, and it's not. And I like to think that I know how to look at a budget and piece it together, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm lost in terms of which is where and what is what and who is who and how much is how much. It shouldn't be like that. It should be very simple, very clear. And I think it would be accomplished if it was all in one budget, or a separate department, but somehow put in here. I don't care either way. But right now, not knowing is not helpful. And that's why all the questions are being populated as they are. And Robert, you're new to the position. This is not directed toward you, but you're our vehicle to address the issue.
no, I understand.
So if I'm addressing it personally, I don't mean to do that. So my apologies.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Okay. Well, thank you, Forrest, very much for your patience.
Thank you, Forrest.
Thank you.
Appreciate your helping us through it. So
Can we vote on dispatch?
Well, hold on one second. Can we go back to our sheet that lists the items that are up for review?
I can.
There's actually 4 sections. Is that something you think, Robert, you can call up? It was email number 3 that got sent out on Tuesday.
Yep, I can bring that over right now.
So I think we are going to hold police and we're going to hold the library. One is in section 2, the other is in section 3. And we can take them out of order. Is there interest in making a motion on the regional dispatch account 1215?
I'll make a motion to approve regional dispatch 12.
Second?
Motion's been made and second. Any discussion? None. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Abstentions? None. It passes. So can we go to the top of the page?
Sorry.
I think you were just there, Robert.
Yeah, I'm
You-
just trying to update this while we're doing it.
So waste collection, I think we held that pending. There was a meeting to try to determine, did that meeting get held, and do we have,
It
Go ahead.
just,
Yeah.
it just hasn't been finalized, though. The actual number.
so defined, not finalized?
I thought Jeff had a final number.
Well, yes, we have that, but we haven't physically signed the contract.
Yeah, oh, the contract's not signed yet, but that doesn't mean we can't
Yeah.
get the number out, because we know what the number is.
So can we go to account 1443?
So this,
So the number on the board is $458,540. Is that the number, or is there a new number?
a new number.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to leave with my chin. What is that?
That is our new number.
Yikes.
Yeah, so that, to give you a little background on that, the trash contract came in with a significant increase. However, it is still well below bids from 3 years ago that we had received, so still very much going to be our lowest bidder. It's a similar situation to the auditors, where if we were to put this out to bid, that number's going to go up even further. So we want to proceed with Pellegrino. They've been providing an excellent service to the town, but obviously their costs have gone up substantially, as is reflected through that type of service between tipping fees increasing, recycling costs increasing, cost of insurance and fuel all increasing. This is the new number. The good news for us is that once we put this number in the budget, we will also increase the revenue in the budget to match it, because that will come out of our trash fee.
Okay, so I don't want to say I don't care, but that can be $1 million as long as there's $1 million in the
Right.
revenue side.
Correct.
And in our first iteration, we were off by 12 grand.
Yep.
So if that's going to be the new expense number,
We are going to
can we
increase.
assume that the new revenue number is going to be 547? That
Yes.
exact same number?
Right.
Correct.
Okay. In which case, I believe there'll be a pickup.
Modest increase to the trash fee.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to need a revised budget. I don't want to be too far out on the limb, but I think there's about a $12,000 pickup, which would be helpful.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So are we comfortable with knowing that's going to take place on the expense, and the contract is going to be signed, and the revenue is going to correspondingly be equal to it, or do we want to wait until we see that happen?
I feel like I am comfortable with this number. The contract is just a matter of formality now with bringing it to the select board for final signature. So I think we can vote on this number.
Okay.
And I'd like, if I may,
Yes.
I'd like to move that we approve the waste collection account at $547,250.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? None. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Abstentions? None. Passes. Count 1910, employee benefits. I hate to put the ball in your court, Robert, but I think this was pushed back to you to get comfort that that's the number.
So that's correct. We talked about this last week, that it was going back to the actuaries to get updated numbers to see if we could increase deductibles, to see if that would make for more appealing plans to our employees and potentially save the town some money. So we have received those revised plans, but have not had a insurance advisory committee meeting in the meantime to see if that's something that we would like to approve or not. But
So
I know,
wasn't the insurance committee going to meet? Did they meet, and if they changed this or no?
so they met, and that's what prompted the revised deductible situation so that we could see. So unfortunately, we have not met since we received those numbers, which just occurred this week.
So are you suggesting we hold it until they do?
If I'm confident that that number isn't going to increase, but I know that the last time we talked, we didn't want to lock in 788 and then have it be 785. So if you want to have exact numbers, I would recommend that we hold off on this one.
I'm gonna suggest we do.
Okay.
Okay. The assessors budget, 1141. We've actually reached out, certain members have reached out to the assessor, and I am going to recommend that we hold it and invite the assessor to come before us at our next Finance Committee meeting. I think the committee would benefit greatly from that assessor being present.
Okay. I can talk with Diane about that.
Cemetery. 1491. So, some information was sent to everybody regarding the cemetery. It came in the form of right from their cemetery committee or cemetery commission website. There's a detailed, one of the excerpts is perpetual care. We had asked, along with the special revenue funds, whether or not that special revenue fund, perpetual care, could be used for these stone repairs. When I sent it to you, I did not underline this. That's underlined on the website, and it says, does not include repair and replacement of gravestones. So I think that was a pending question that we had.
Yep.
So that's out of play. But what this did say is that there are 3 accounts under special revenue. And is it possible, Robert, for you to call that up, the special revenue fund? It would either be in an email that I sent you, or we could go to, there you go, right, that's the,
Perpetual.
one of the attachments.
I'm getting the other one right now.
And if you look under D for DPW, you can see that there are two cemetery special revenue funds. I'm going to make a recommendation that's not going to affect the budget, but when somebody asked me where it was, I said it's on the special revenue, and they said, no, it's not. I said, yes, it is. They said, no, it's not. I said, yes, it is. But they didn't think to look under DPW. I actually, because it's got its own budget and its own committee, I would suggest that you pull those two out and have them keep the same numbers, but just have them alphabetized under the cemetery. Speaking to that point, the question was, can we use any of the sale of lots information, and where does that go? And I could misspeak because I may have misheard, but I thought it was said that half of it goes to the general fund, and I said I've never seen that happen. If you go back to the earlier perpetual care, half of it doesn't go to the general fund, half of it goes to the other fund. It goes to the perpetual care fund, and that happens to say so in item number C. Half of the sale price of the grave plots shall go into the sale of lot fund, and the other half shall go into the perpetual care. So none of it does come to the general fund. So the question is, if you go back to the special revenue fund, has half of that been transferred yet, or are we looking at, can you see the account that shows $120,000?
Yep.
Is that 240, of which half of it went to the perpetual care? Or is that 120 that half of it has not gone to the perpetual care? I just think we need to have a clarification on that. And thanks to DPW alerting us to this in our meeting with them last week. We probably wouldn't have done the research that we did if they haven't made the mention of what they did. So it's been very helpful. But that said, I don't think the cemetery budget of $1491 changes. Unless somebody sees that it could or it should. So I would entertain a motion at $92.75.
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Abstentions? None. Snow and ice. On my email to you, I misquoted 1422. It's actually 1423. And I think if you look at the balance at the bottom of the page, 195, we made a comment that this can be deficit spent, but we were reminded is it can only be deficit spent if you level fund the prior year. That's not what's reflected here.
Correct.
So as a minimum, we've got to, in my experience is they've taken the prior year of 203, I'll lose the $10 for a minute, 203, and we add 1,000.
Yep.
So we have an option of adding 1,000 to the 203 and making that 204 and not 195.
And I do want to point out that it's currently reflected as 204,100 in the overall budget. So it's not going to increase our deficit right now.
Oh, on page 1?
Yeah, I just wanted to point that out.
So, if I may, just to clarify, our FY '27 snow and ice is going to be 204,100. So
Correct.
Okay, so now you gotta help me out, because the detail of that budget still shows 195.
Correct. So where I got that from, so if you follow AQ down, that has the 204.10 there. So it's 204 and 10. So that's what it's actually calculating into that overall deficit number.
Okay, so can we change the detailed budget of 1423 to reflect the 204? And that would be above the prior year. That would put us in safe harbor, so to speak, in terms of deficit spending. So is there a motion to approve at 204.10?
So moved.
Motion's been made, seconded?
I'll second.
Second? Not that
Yep, I second.
Yeah.
Sorry. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Abstentions? None. DPW, 1421. I'm going to make a recommendation. And I'm kind of ahead of myself because we also sent out the revised Wachusett Regional School District budget,
Yep.
which, if I'm not mistaken, is about a $170,000 pickup. Is that, was that your assessment in terms of the reduced
Chair, if I may, and I have to apologize, that came in late. Is that a pickup as in we're paying less? Pickup as,
So I sent this to you, to everybody today.
yeah.
I don't know the particular number, but it was identified as WRSD.
Yep.
I think it was like a
Does everybody have
200,000. I think it was like a 200,000 shift.
Yeah.
For that.
The assessment went down quite a bit.
It went down. Okay.
Can you keep scrolling?
I didn't get a chance to read it, so.
It's, I think it's page 8.
Page 8.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wow.
So the assessment that originally was in our budget at 8.7, then it got reduced to 4.7. Now it's at 2.80.
Well, that's terrific.
Am I the only one that saw that, or?
I didn't get a chance to see it this afternoon, but
I didn't get
that's great. Yeah.
All right. I think it's 164,588 pickup, because it's going to reduce the assessment.
So the difference, how is the difference calculated? It's not from numbers on this sheet, correct?
No, that's 26.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's 26 to 27.
Yeah, that's confusing.
Yeah.
The assessment, if you look at the FY27 proposed assessment, 8.544,
Yep.
it's in the budget right now at 8.709.
Okay. Okay, good.
So you want me to make that change?
I do. That's going to reduce our deficit from 451 down to 286. So with that backdrop, going back to DPW, account 1421.
Sorry, just want to make sure updated. Yep, 286,916. That's what you're anticipating?
For DPW 1421?
Oh, okay. I was just making sure
Just
that
adjusting the what you said, right?
Yeah.
that's what you were anticipating,
Yeah.
286.
In that particular budget is a budgeted position that is pending and has not been filled, but was filled for a week and then became vacant again. There was also talk of another position that hasn't been budgeted for a number of years, so that he was 2 people down. And the question was asked, what would it cost to fill that other position, notwithstanding that you have one vacant that you haven't been able to fill? And he said it would cost $45,000. So
I put down 55 because that's what I heard, was that it was going to be 55,000 for the light equipment operator.
Okay, so the question is, you just pointed, are you pointing to something you put in there?
Just over in column
Yeah, okay.
O, it has 55,000. I put that there for the light equipment operator one, which is the vacant position for several years that you're referring to.
Yeah.
So either or. Given the pickup that we just unexpectedly benefited from in Wachusett Regional, I'm wondering if there's an appetite to get this particular Cinderella department fully staffed. And would we consider adding that position to the budget? It's in the form of a question. I'm happy to make it in the form of a motion, but happy to entertain discussion about it. This has been an ill-equipped, under-equipped, understaffed, under-budgeted department for way too long. I mean this in a complimentary way. If I hear we do the best we can with what we have one more time, we got to give them more half. We got to give him more staff. And I think that would affect some of the overtime budgets that are going way over budget, because he's got 6 people doing the work of 8, and therefore you got to pay overtime to the 6 that are doing the work. So this could be a little bit of a balancing effect. Unfortunately, not to the tune of 55,000, but I think serious consideration should be made to funding that additional position.
Yeah, I agree with that, Mark, and also your comment earlier that it's not easy to fill these positions, so there's no guaranteed day one this gets filled.
Right.
And trying to fill 2 positions, it just puts the odds in our favor having at least one filled, so we're not so short on staff.
Right, so he's got one opening that is budgeted, right? He's got a heavy one open
Yep.
right now?
Yep.
That's on the website, right?
Right.
Yeah,
And then this one is the light up one, okay.
correct.
Yeah.
So the catch-22 is, why get him more trucks? Because he doesn't have the staff. And now he's going to get the trucks, so we got to get him the staff. So I think it's something that, if this was the difference between balancing the budget or not, I may have a different opinion, but I think the fact that we are where we are, this might be the ripe and right time to put it back in the budget.
Yeah, if I may, I think it's absolutely the right thing to do. Can we just go up to the section of the budget where we have things like line painting and things like that, or down rather?
Yeah.
Oh, we did fund line painting. Okay, this was a clarification. I just wanted to get some. That's all I had. Yeah, no, I think it's the right decision. I mean, I think the department couldn't have said it any better. Mark, it's been understaffed, under equipment, and if we lost another person or 2 in that department, I think we'd have some real trouble. So I think it's all around the right decision.
Carl?
Only question is, it would really be a question for Travis, would be that, like, if we're saying, yeah, the way things are looking, bump it up a little bit to the tune of, say, 55,000.
Yep.
Would he rather have that as the person, or would he rather try and address some of these other purchase services that he cut? And I would prefer to, I agree with the sentiment that we might have a little bit of wiggle room here with DPW, but I don't know if I'd want to vote on a person than for him to say like, well, I really would have wanted the guardrails and the painting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can do this, because it looks like we are going to meet again. Can you ask Travis, does he want guardrails or a person?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's well
Right,
said.
yeah, no, I agree.
I think that's
Let
valid.
him make
Yeah,
that
no, that's a good way to
decision.
do it.
Yeah.
Be happy he's getting something.
He may want both.
I'm sure he would love to have both.
Right.
Yeah.
An option.
And if he says neither, he's on his own.
Yeah.
I did not anticipate that coming my
Okay.
way.
All right. Fire, 1220. Came in at 2.2% increase over last year. To Mr. Bagdas's point, did have substantial cuts a year ago, similar to the 18.25%. So in this case, and keeping in mind that they also contribute $400,000 to the revenue side of the equation from their ambulance receipts funds. Happy to have discussion or entertain a motion.
I'd like, if I may, go ahead and make a motion that we approve cost center 1220 fire department for $1,227,245.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second. Any discussion? None. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Abstentions? None. Reserve fund. Which is account 1132. Notwithstanding the convoluted number that's been budgeted there, historically, for the last 15 years, it's been budgeted at $40,000 or $50,000. More recently, it's been budgeted at $50,000. There was another pickup because of the override, but $250, I'll take that out of play if you don't mind. So we have the option of either reducing it by $8,152 or increasing it up to $50,000. Again, I think if it was a difference between a surplus or a break even and a deficit, I might have a different recommendation, but the budgets still remain tight, and therefore, I think budgeting it back to $50,000, which is what it's been for the last 3 years, would be an advisable thing to do. So I would make a recommendation that we budget this at $50,000.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Abstentions? None. Library, I think we were going to hold that pending
Yeah,
varying
merging
the different
everything together.
versions of it.
That's correct.
So,
And I have seen that Vicky has already sent that to me, so I appreciate that, and I will make sure it happens.
Yep. So, Robert, can you go back to the lead page for just a minute?
Yep. So with the change in the reserve fund, the change in Wachusett, it's now at 288.
Right. And depending upon what the DPW director tells us, that could be a little bit higher.
Correct.
But it's not $1,130,000. So, and I would never have expected that it would be where it is.
I do want to point out, though, if we're going to be going for an override, that we would have to have everything in by April 6th to get it on.
By April 5th?
April 6th,
6th.
yes.
It's 2 weeks from Monday.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we reschedule a meeting for next Wednesday,
Yeah,
and that we be 99%, if not 100% done on that night.
okay. I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of that date.
So, in terms of our meeting agenda, in terms of our next meeting, remind everybody that we're meeting Monday. I'll post a meeting of a joint meeting with the Wachusett Regional School and Bay Path School and the Select Board. That would be double duty then next week, that we would do Monday and Wednesday. Is everybody okay with that?
I can't.
If you had to choose between the two, I'd rather you be here on Wednesday. So first of all, can everybody make next Wednesday?
I can't make next Wednesday.
Seth can?
I can, I'm good.
Regular time next Wednesday, right?
Did you have to point out that tonight was a special time because of me?
I didn't, you just,
That's 7
Yeah,
o'clock.
got it.
So Carl, can you make it?
Yep.
Tony?
Yep.
Seth can?
Yeah, I'm good.
David can?
Yep.
Jeremy?
Yeah.
I can?
FYI, Monday too is Zoom as well,
Yes.
right? You got a Zoom link, so if
Yeah.
anybody can't make it but can Zoom in, it still counts as present, right?
I'm going to assume that Jeff can make it, so with your forgiveness, Seth, we're going to meet next Wednesday. Would a Zoom link work?
I think I'm going to be flying at the time of the meeting, so I think so.
Okay. So, any new business? Old business? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? None. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Abstentions? None. Sorry for the late time. I'm responsible for it. I appreciate your allowing me to come a little late tonight. Thank you.